Time to get into some talk around energy, frequency, and vibration, as if possibly our life depends on it, and become the observer, the close conscious observer of what we are being invited to tune into on a deeper level right now. And what I'm going to share could absolutely change your life and the way that you create and manifest everybody a reality moving forward. I don't say that with an ego. I'm learning and growing every single day, but I had some great teachers and have studied this stuff for a long, long time. And the levels of consciousness, as far as I know, are endless. The remembering is endless. What we think is happening out there is actually a direct mirror to the frequencies and the vibration, the thoughts, the words, and the emotions that we're using. And it's really, really essential right now to tune in to these keys. Because this is, I never use this word because it describes fighting. And that's not the way to win, because that's low frequency. But we are in a battle. Let's just call it a challenge, an invitation right now for our frequency and our attention. Do we rise above as true conscious observers, or do we allow ourselves to be pulled down into fear, separation, us against them, we're awake, they're not, they're stupid, why can't they see what we can see? All this stuff that will normally come up based on the information that we've been given when we came into this 3D matrix. But the key is, right now, for anybody that wants to move beyond and truly create their ideal reality and timelines, these are the tools. And before I jump into it, I just want to say a big, big heartfelt thank you to everybody that has sent well wishes, prayers, Reiki, healing, private messages, and love to my dear mother, who just had brain surgery. And the great news is the surgery went amazingly well. She's at home resting. I have not spoken to her yet today because there's a big, big time difference between where I am in Thailand and where she is just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. But I want to thank everybody. I was in tears just reading all the comments and all the love pouring in, and from people that I don't even know. And so this is a powerful community, and this is a powerful way to connect with the world. And I'm very, very grateful. I want to talk about one thing before I move into the tools and really get into the topic. And also let everybody know this is a Q&A. My Facebook Lives on Mondays and Wednesdays, I got to look because I'm a day ahead. So it's my Thursday morning here. It's Wednesday evening in the States. My Facebook Lives every Monday and Wednesday are Q&As. These are opportunities to truly ask questions and share the tools from the book and the digital course. And this is what I do with a handful of people every month. I personally mentor them and take them through 30 days of closely journeying with them to do complete inner healing, dismantling the old limiting beliefs, programs, self-judgments, reactionary behaviors, lack of abundance, and really give them the tools to begin to consciously create the reality every single day. So if anybody has any questions and you've been percolating with this keeps coming up for me, or I could really use some assistance around something. Okay, thank you for the comments. I heard that the volume is not clear, so let me move a little closer to the mic. Let me know if that's better. So if you have something coming up for you and you want to dive into it, this is an opportunity to do it. And I know from the past of doing these weekly shows that there are a lot of people that watch and observe, and a lot of people that I'm not even friends with on Facebook, which is pretty amazing, that they find me, and which I love about this. Thanks, Deb. I appreciate that. And so a lot of people watch, and it was like when I first started journeying with my mentor, Don Miguel Ruiz, in San Diego. And if you don't know who he is, he wrote the 4 Agreements, the Mastery of Love, Beyond Fear, and the Voice of Knowledge, and also the 5th Agreement. But when I used to go to the dreaming weekends, we would lock in for 2.5 days, from Friday evening until Sunday. And we'd stay in this room, the dreaming house, and we would never leave unless we went out for breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. Sometimes we skipped it if we were going really deep and everybody wanted to stay. And so I used to sit back, and there were times when I had, especially in the beginning, when I had drama going on in my life and pain, and I was still drinking alcohol at the time, and the same things recycling in relationships in life as they do, because I was holding those frequencies and those beliefs from my upbringing in my childhood. So there would be times when I would want to ask Miguel a question, but I was afraid because my ego was going, well, that's a silly question, you should already know that, or whatever. That's the ego. And every time that I would ask the question, my weekend would go amazing and I'd leave feeling so great and I was shifting into the next level. But if I didn't ask the question, I'd leave the weekend and I'd go, why didn't you ask the question? So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, because this is important stuff. This is the most life-changing stuff that I've ever come across, and it's why I do this. Because to guide somebody through this process, or to have them go take the digital course or go through the book and truly fill out the daily tracking sheet every day, which is so simple. It just brings things into your awareness that were just on automatic all the time. Every single person that I journey with on the first call, within 5 minutes, they're using words that are spells that are working against themselves, such as want, try, should, need. They don't even realize it. It's just what we've been taught. And then they're telling their story, and they still haven't forgiven certain things from the past, or they're still judging themselves, or they don't like the way they look in the mirror. It's like we start to clean up stuff so quick that it completely changes your vibration and your frequency and the way that you create your reality each day. These are tools that should have been taught and will be taught in first grade. This is it. This conscious awareness is the only game in town. And so before I dive into this, I want to talk about research and get back to my mom's brain surgery. Because in the beginning, my mom was having difficulty with her balance and stuff. And so she went and they ran some tests, and they found out that there was something happening neurologically up in her brain. So what they were going to do is do this incredible surgery where they were going to put in this little stent. It's a little thing that goes in between the nerves or something, and it stops something from blocking or I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But here's my point. She was living in, where is she? North Carolina, no, Gastonia, Georgia? I can't even remember because now she lives in Nashville, Tennessee. But anyway, the doctor that she went to said, yeah, okay, great. We've got all your visuals, and so we're going to schedule surgery. What we're going to do is we're going to completely cut open your skull. We're going to split it apart, and we're going to go in and dig down, and we're going to attempt to put this chip in. And my older sister, Jenny, found out about that, and luckily she knew another doctor in Portland. And the guy's like, this guy is not on top of things. So what happened is they ended up doing the surgery with a completely different doctor. They went in with a little scope through my mom's groin with a wire and went all the way up and put the stent into her brain without having to cut her whole skull open, pull it apart. I mean, imagine the difference of this just through doing a little bit of research. So these doctors out there that are putting people on ventilators, which one just was responsible for the death of a really good friend in our community. They didn't know what they were doing. And this is really, really important. So doing research is key, really, really key, okay? So my mom's doing amazing. Her surgery, where they put the stent in her brain, this time they did have to drill a little hole in the back of her head, which makes me cringe just thinking about that. But my mom, I talked to her the day before the surgery, and she was like a Jedi master. She wasn't even in fear or anything. I mean, totally blew me away. Totally blew me away. Because obviously we're the family, we're worried a little bit. Anyway, the surgery only took like about a half hour. And then she gets released the next day. She's at home after one day in the hospital, okay? The other doctor, who was going to completely cut open her skull with a saw, rip all that stuff up, split her head. I mean, you know, I don't like to go into graphic detail, but we're talking about people's lives here and we're talking about research, okay? So again, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everybody that sent the wonderful energy and the blessings and the love and the messages. And thank you so much. You're all amazing. So let's get into it. Let's blow this thing wide open. Super positivity. It's all about our frequency and vibration. And I want to start off with talking about what I touched on a little bit better, a little bit more in the beginning. We are in this game, as you can call it, because I don't like to call it a war or a battle. And the whole game is for your frequency, your vibration, and your attention. What are you focused on right now? So you can see in the external, it's a full-on 24/7 blast of fear, separation, turn in your neighbor, rat them out, be afraid of them, don't leave your house, sleep with a mask on, take a shower with a mask on, actually 3 masks, you know, just fear, 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 fear. Well, what does that do? It lowers our vibration. It keeps us in separation. It keeps us in judgment. The only way to move out of, let's call this you. You're much bigger than that. Let's call this you. This is 5D and beyond, up above. And down here, this is like 3D matrix. I know it's beautiful, but just imagine all this is the lower dimensions. So in order to get out and rise up above these repeating lower dimensional 3D timelines of war, separation, judgment, they're doing something to me. This is the trick of the hologram. It's backwards. It's reversed. This is how they get everybody. Everybody thinks that out there is doing something to them. And in a way, it can be if they get your attention. But when I wake up every morning and I love on my body and I close my eyes and I smile, which automatically raises my vibration, and I start to manifest everything that I've already pulled into my reality, key word, that I have already pulled into my reality. It's not in the future. I'm not going to. I don't need to. I don't want to. I'm not going to try. I don't hope. I don't wish. Those are all spell words that tell your subconscious. They give it a direct command. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. And the subconscious only knows how to do one thing, and that's take a direct command. So when you are manifesting, and we are manifesting, it's here now. The money, the abundance. You can give money away because it just keeps coming in. If you hold on to it at all and you think you need to save enough before you can give it away, you've squashed off the pipeline because that's a fear-based thought. And even if you're not thinking about it all the time, but you're holding it in your frequency down here, or you're holding any lack of forgiveness or judgment around anybody, you're going to keep attracting those same people, the same lack. This same thing is going to keep showing up because it's a hologram. It's a mirror. And they don't teach you this. And that's why the Tell Live Vision is running programming. They're honest. They tell you it's programming. The following program. It's programming. It's 30 frames a second. With subliminals that are in there that you can't even see because they're in every, second, 7th, 19th frame or whatever. It's genius how they do it. It's genius. Okay? So the key is conscious awareness is the only game in town. And the beautiful thing about how this is all so intensified right now, because it sucks. Let's face it. I'm running around. I'm the only one not wearing a mask. I'm in Thailand. I mean, they've been wearing masks here for a long time, but the prime minister here, he's either being blackmailed or bribed or brainwashed or something. He's constantly telling everybody on the television, which everybody trusts here. They're Buddhists. They're loving people. They're not fighters. They just trust the guy. And he's diabolical because he's telling everybody you must go get the V. And so I was at the Buddhist temple yesterday feeding my wild jungle dogs. And people are lined up by the hundreds with masks on. And even after they get their V, they're still wearing the mask. And there's a big ambulance parked out front, like, you know, it's just fear-based, low vibration. It's done so well. They've done such a great job. God bless them. But the bottom line is, there's only two choices right now. And we cannot be separate. That's one of the big things that's happening right now. Well, my family's asleep and I've tried to wake them up and they're all judging me. And you know, when people judge us, there's a frequency and an energy that comes with it. You've got to be consciously aware to not take it personally. Don't take it personally. As my teacher, Don Miguel Ruiz, said, nothing anyone does is really because of you. They're living in their own dream. They can only see what they see based on their experience and their belief system. And most people's belief systems are a complete lie. Their beliefs aren't even their own. When Miguel got me to see that my belief system wasn't even mine in 2001, it blew my mind, literally. I went, boom. I'm like, oh my God. Nobody's beliefs are their own. They all came from our parents, our grandparents, history, which is a lie, science, which has been manipulated and twisted, the news, the school system, which is purposely set up to teach you what to think instead of how to think. That's a big one. A lot of books do not tell you all the keys. My girlfriend and I, when we met Miguel, we owned all the top 200 spiritual books. You name it, we owned them. Name off the top titles. And we would read through them and the mind would go, yeah, that sounds really good. That sounds really good. That sounds really good. And I'm not saying there wasn't any good information in the books, but none of them taught us how to go in and do the 3 parts that are part of the waking up in the dream transformational journey. You got to do the inner healing. There's no way around it because that's holding your frequency, which is attracting your timelines. You cannot be holding any resentment, lack of forgiveness, or any low vibrational frequencies against anybody, including yourself. You can't. And so we must train ourselves, and it's very easy. I take people through this process in 30 days. It's so easy. They just go, oh my God, I can't believe after 4 days, I'm seeing all these programs I've just been running on autopilot and everybody else is running them too. I'm like, I know. And I'm grateful for all my teachers. I never planned on doing this. I'm a music guy, artist. I lived in my recording studio for 25 years. I still do it every day. I never planned on writing a book. Are you kidding me? I got none of that background. Stuff happens. I got on fire after studying with Miguel for 10 years, every month locking into that dreaming room and committing and investing in myself. When I didn't even have the money, living in my recording studio, sleeping on a mattress. And I was totally happy. My studios kicked ass. Mirror balls and fog machines and sacred altars with crystals and black lights and just vibe. But yeah, I never had abundance because my dad died when I was 7, which was part of my soul contract. Thank you, Dad, for bringing me into this reality. And my uncle had 8 kids and everything was about lack. And my mom was in fear. It was all about lack around money. So that's what I grew up with all my life. And it wasn't until I started studying and going to the dreaming weekends and really observing my story, how you tell your story. And so I want to get into this a little bit because it's super key. And here's one of the keys about waking up and dismantling a program that may have been running on automatic your entire life. You must be able to see the program in order to dismantle it and have that aha moment. Otherwise, what will happen? The ego will defend it every time because it believes that that's true, because that's what it learned and that's what its experience was, and that's what your belief system told it. And it, in the beginning, needs to protect that fragile, super weak, limiting, with a capital limiting belief system. The belief system is a prison. It is a total prison. Completely. People are living in this small little bubble, never waking up in the morning and creating their reality with the unlimited, capital, unfreaking limited power that they have. Most people, when I ask them what their desires are at the beginning of the 30-day course, they're like, well, I want perfect health, okay. I don't want to WORK anymore. I only want to do what I love, given. That's what you should be doing. That's your sole purpose. Figure that out. 3, I want the beautiful car paid off, and then I want the house paid off. And then what's the last one? Money, security. Because the ego thinks that there's a way to get security by having something, even though it's a completely fake money system. And yes, it does allow us to exchange for things right now, but I'm explaining this to you so you can see the program. So I ask them, what's the right amount of money so that you'll feel safe and secure and you can relax into being the unlimited, kick-ass, multi-dimensional being that you really are, that you came into this life with, that you've just forgotten. Because that was part of the contract, that was part of the agreement to come down into the 3D matrix and unlearn this stuff through tuning into your intuition and going, something's not right here, something's not right here, something's not right here. That kicked in with me in 2nd grade. I got tossed into private Catholic schools with super judgmental, pissed off, angry nuns every day, every day. And I didn't know the first thing about conscious awareness, but I was like, something's wrong here, something's wrong. They're talking about love, but every single day is judgment day, judgment day, judgment day. Judgments are the biggest addiction on the planet. And we must learn to catch the frequency of every single one and stop and take a breath and go, oh, that's about me. It's not about them. This is so key that if you get this, it'll change everything in your life. And if you don't get it, you'll just keep judging, and you may be a judgeaholic like I was. I was a complete judgeaholic because I thought that's how we fixed things out there. We had to point them out. We had to point them out. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. I was pointing it all out. And I was a pretty happy kid. I was doing pretty well. My mom was amazing, raising us without a dad. I played sports all my life. I excelled. It was good. But I was wounded. I lost my dad. I was the only kid in school that didn't have a dad. My uncle was brutal. He thought the way to teach me was to beat me and talk down to me. And so my training was perfect. I chose that on my soul contract before I came in here. And if you can awaken to that fact that every single thing that's happened to you was part of your soul contract, even if it was horrific. And I journey with some people that have had some really, really horrific, like sexual abuse and murder in their family and stuff. And, got to be gentle with it, but you must understand that it must be cleared and forgiven and seen as part of the soul contract if you are to move beyond the 3D matrix. Otherwise, you will recreate things that mirror that lower frequency wound that we're holding, and you'll never get out of it. This is the key. These are the tools. Super, super simple when you're ready and you commit. And I'm not saying that nobody out there that's watching this or sharing this doesn't get it. There's tons of amazing awake people out there. I'm basically reminding Jeff right now. I love doing this because it fires me up, and I'm talking to myself and reminding myself of my latest and most powerful realizations so that I do not forget. because I can get, pulled in once in a while, but I've learned to train myself to track the frequency. So anytime I have a judgment, anytime I have a fear, anytime I have a doubt, anytime I have shame or guilt, I can feel it and I stop immediately, and I take everybody through this process. And once you learn it, you can forget it if you don't practice it. I mean, once in a while, somebody will call me up that's gone through the 30-day transformation, and they'll go, Jeff, I'm having this issue. And the first question I always ask is, when did you stop using the simple tools? And they go, yeah, you're right. I'm so glad to connect with you. How's everything going? Boom, 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 boom. Brings them right back, right back. Because the tools are so simple and they're so powerful that they just work. And that's why I love doing this. So I'm just talking to Jeff every single time. So super key that what's happening right now is they out there, they're in their final thing, man. The light is won. And those of us who are awake, for lack of a better word, I don't like to put myself above or below anybody. Everybody's us, okay? But for those of us that can see the game, we send them love. We're not above anybody. We even send the darkest of the dark, the pedos, and the people that want to murder us and poison us. Got to send them love. Got to shine love on them, because that's the only frequency. Anything else, then we're in resistance. We can't be carrying judgment, hatred. We can't be carrying that. We can't. I used to think that, okay, well, I understand the tools, but we need to kill these pedos. And, well, if I saw one doing something to a child, it's quite possible that I would do that. But that hasn't come into my field directly, and I understand how the tools work. We must forgive everyone. They're a part of this dream. This whole dream's going on, and it's so multidimensional that most people are many people, not careful with my words, so you can feel the frequency of a word. Our words are key because they cast spells, okay? But many people are still pulled into reacting to their emotions. And this is the huge one. These are why so many people are so easily triggered, because they don't understand what a trigger is. A trigger, okay, is an emotional reaction. The trick is, and the trap is, why it keeps people looping in it is because when they have that emotional reaction, they think that they're right, because they feel that, and it triggers them. It either scares them, or it makes them angry, or it pisses them off, or it puts them in fear, or makes them feel they think they're right. This is the trap of the 3D matrix. You're not right. You simply had an emotional reaction. And if you don't train yourself to catch every single emotional reaction, no matter how small it is, even a judgment like, God, that person's ugly, I don't like her hair, that will keep you looping in low frequency stuff. I'm not kidding, because I was a judgeaholic. I know this one, and it's the biggest addiction on the planet. And so these are the tools. So we must track our frequency, wake up every single morning and consciously create our reality, or it's going to be created for us, because we're going to be swept up in this massive wave of distraction, fear, separation, judgment, shame, guilt. Or you can't go to a restaurant or get on an airplane or work at this company then I don't go there. In fact, not only don't I go there, but I 1000% boycott them with love. I don't hold frequency. Oh, I hate them. No. Then who's holding the frequency? Me. I don't do it. I just go, nope. Then you're out. If you're supporting the dark agenda and you're going for that, then you're not part of my reality. There's plenty of places to eat food. I live in the country. I live off mostly fruit and vegetables and, whatever. The point is, must create your reality every single morning. And the best time to do that is when you are lying in bed, as soon as you awaken from what we call the sleeping dream. Because we're dreaming all the time, right? You know that? You're dreaming right now. You get that? When my teacher, Don Miguel Ruiz, first told me that, he was like, what? The ego is going, no, I can't control that. That does not compute. I'm not sure if I like that. Well, get playful with it, because this is nothing more than frequencies in this beautiful body. Some people call it a skin suit, whatever, but it's incredible. There's trillions and trillions of cellular functions that are going off right now. There's trillions of functions that have happened since the beginning of this broadcast that you haven't even had to think about, and you don't have to think about all day long or when you're asleep. It's incredible. It's incredible when you think about what's really going on and get fascinated and make understanding how this reality is created your number one joy, along with doing whatever you're super passionate about, the gift that you came in here to do, to give to humanity. And if you don't know what that is yet, then don't let it bring you down. Just start to think about it. What would I really love to be doing if I wasn't doing my job or whatever I'm doing to survive and pay my mortgage or whatever? The American dream. There's nothing wrong with that. But I invite you to look a little deeper. And what's happening right now in the external reality is beautifully forcing us, although it's pressure. But guess what? Look at all the proof that people don't even want to look at already. It's so in your face, and other people are just like, nope, I've done my research. Poison is good. Altering my DNA permanently is good. All the toxic stuff in there is good on the 37 pages of toxic inserts. I've done my research. Okay, cool. I love you. I love you. I did my best to share some information with you, and I love you. And we may not be hanging out. I don't know. I'm not afraid of anybody. I don't care if you're V'd or not, or if you're shedding, or fuck that. That's not part of my reality. However you choose to navigate through it, that's cool. But I will not navigate in the world in fear. And if I do, I have a fear come up once in a while. Yeah. I don't even know if they're mine. Some are mine based on my past, what happened to me, part of my soul contract, but some of them just might be the whole, collective. I wake up 2 nights ago, I had dreams that were so freaking weird and attacky, and I didn't even know what the hell they were when I woke up. So I did what I do every single morning. I go into 0 point before I create my day. And this required me breathing and smiling a few more times than normally when I wake up and I'm clear and I'm on it, because I do it every day. And I invite you to do it too, because if you don't, the external world is probably creating your reality. Because many people, don't want to project many people, they wake up and they're like, okay, my alarm just got off. I got to get up. I got to put on a pot of coffee. I got to get the kids ready for school. I got 15 minutes to jump in the shower. Then I got to get ready for WORK. And they're just running the same program over and over and over. And it's not for me to say whether that's right or not. I did it for a long time. I mean, what I'm doing today, I'm running a program. It's just that I'm running a conscious program based on my heart, based on excitement, based on knowing now who we are, that we are vibrational beings creating our entire reality. And it's key to understand that. And that's why that was not taught in school. Give up 12 to 16 years of your life so you can become programmed to work in a system, and give up 65 years, the best years of your life, so you can become what? Another spell word, retired. Retired. You get that? Tuning into spell words? Try, wish, hope, should, need, want. Weak ass. They're spells. And again, if you're just tuning in, the reason they're spells and the reason they're weak is because they tell your subconscious, it's not here yet. I'm not in power. I wish, I hope, I want. I haven't got it yet. This is key to understand this, because so many people are not aware of the words they're using and how they tell their story. They're just recreating more of it. Okay, so I think I covered that really well, or in depth. I don't mean really well, but yeah. Any questions from anybody? Any questions? We don't have any questions. Here's a nice comment from Stephanie. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in and staying with it. You know, this is, to me, this is the most valuable information on the planet, some of it. I mean, gotta know how to do it. Gotta know how to do it. Okay, so no questions yet, but you have an opportunity. And what I notice on these lives that I've been doing for years is, as soon as somebody asks the first question, then other people feel relaxed and they're like, oh, okay, it's safe. But for some reason, sometimes people don't want to be the one to ask the first question, like, you're naked and you're all out there and all the focus is on you. Let me tell you, I used to think that too. The focus isn't on you. Everybody's focused on their own stuff. You're just helping and assisting them to be mirrored, because we're all experiencing so much of the same things. So again, any questions, bring them on. So let me go into my notes here. Okay, so everyone is you. This is super key. When my teacher told me this, I didn't get it. I had to hear this 100 times. I mean, I had an idea he was telling me the truth, but my ego didn't want to let it in. So I was like, yeah, okay, all right. But down here, I'm still holding judgment and separation. These people did this to me, and, you know, I'm still pissed. And, you know, this happened to me when I was a kid, and my uncle used to beat me and talk down to me, and, you know, money's difficult, and, you know, those were my stories. So guess what happened? I kept creating the same thing because nobody taught me how to track the frequency and vibration of my talk, my self-talk, my words, my thoughts, which are running all day long. Most people are running 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And here's the most interesting part, which you may want to grab a piece of if you're not aware already. They say about 80% of those 50 to 80,000 thoughts are negative. And they're running underneath the surface. So what do you think you're going to manifest into your reality? Why do you think it may be difficult to make more money? I never had money because I was mirrored lack my whole life. It wasn't until I finally got the peace to consciously create my reality. And, you know, I've spoken about this before on lives, and you may find this valuable. In the beginning, I realized that no matter how much I saved, it really wasn't enough. Because my whole life, I was never really able to save a lot. I mean, the most I ever had, I think, was $17,000 in the bank, and that's only because I got in a motorcycle accident. I didn't save that. I think the most I ever had in the bank at one time was $3,000 or $4,000. And it would just go up and down, up and down. But, you know, one thing would happen, and then it'd go back down to zero. It wasn't until I started feeling the frequency of my thoughts. And I began to do this when I would go out to have a meal, because I used to be a bartender for a long time, and we used to survive on tips. And so I would notice when I would go out, the mind would go through this process when you get the bill. Well, was she good? Was she fast? Was the food good? Was it on time? Did it, you know, the mind sizes all this stuff up in order to decide what she's worth. Not knowing that she might have 4 kids at home, be working 3 jobs, the cook was sick that day or he didn't even show up, and whatever it is. And I started to tune into this. And what really helped me shift things was anytime I would get into that deciding what she or he's worth thing, I would always automatically double it. Automatically double it. And now I love giving big tips, especially in Thailand, because these people work. They're the most wonderful people. And they work for next to nothing. I mean, literally. You think minimum wage in the USA is bad? It's mind-blowing here. And to give somebody a $5 tip is like they start crying. They bring it back. They try and give it back. They're so humble. I got girls that just opened up a juice bar that I go to every single day for my mango coconut avocado smoothie that's heaven with no sugar, no syrup. And I go there every day. And I attempt to get them to put out a tip jar, and they will not do it. It's against their upbringing to accept tips for something that they feel they should be doing for you, and they take immense pride in it. Very interesting. But getting back to shifting the money lack piece. When I ask people when they begin the 30-day transformational journey with me on day one, what is it that you desire to create, along with the healing that we're going to do in dismantling the belief system and, really stepping into being the conscious, unlimited creator that this 30 days is going to do for you, they go, well, I want to be able to manifest whatever I desire. And I ask them, well, how much money is that? And they never know, because there's never a number that's enough. It's just a number that tries to make the ego feel safe. The only way to live in abundance is to give it away. Because that shows the ego, that shows the subconscious, which is creating all of this underneath the surface, that's what we do. Money just comes and goes. It's just a flow. And the more that I play with it, the more it just plays with me. But you've got to trust in the beginning, which is why I started small, and I started giving away double the tips. Not because I'm so great, because I had to figure it out, because I was done with lack. It was the next thing to try. And I still had to catch myself many, many times after that when the ego would try and go, okay, what's she worth? You know what? Well, the food wasn't that good, and man, we had to wait like 15 minutes before she even brought us them. The ego wants to do that when it's untrained. It's amazing that the ego usually finds the things that are wrong instead of the things that are right. Can you relate to this? Can you relate to this 3D low vibrational program that so many people are running? The ego, and when people tell you their story, okay, and I'm talking about your story is whatever happened to you, what's going on in your life, whatever somebody did to you, whatever happened to you. I got people that come to me in the beginning and they're still talking about shit that happened 30 years ago that their brother or sister did to them, that they still haven't forgiven. And then they wonder why there's all this issues in their relationships and they keep attracting the same wrong guy in relation. It's mind-blowing. And then I show it to them and they go, holy crap, how come nobody told me that before? Because they don't want you to know. They want you to run the lower vibrational 3D programs of judgment, fear, lack, shame, guilt, anger, and the lowest vibrational frequency, hatred. And that's what they're doing right now, to pit everybody against each other and keep everybody separated and at each other. People are unfriending. If you don't like my post about, doing the research around the V, just unfriend me right now. That's a triggered post. Yeah, you may have done your research, but the goal is not to be separated from more people, us and them over here. No, the goal is to come together and realize that they're your teacher. They're just you. They're you. And until people get this, they may keep recycling in the 3D matrix. There's no way out. Because in 5D and beyond, there is no judgment. There is no shame. There is no guilt. There is no fear. There is no lack. It doesn't exist. It can't. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be 100% aware and in abundance and love in every second. No, you could dip back down. All these timelines are happening all at once. 3D, 5D, 12D, a million D. I don't know how many Ds there are. It's just stuff we're playing with. But it speaks of frequency and vibration, which attracts to us that which we are magnetizing into our reality. And the bottom line is, here's something 100% that you can count on. And this may help you understand why you're either attracting or not attracting that which you desire. You are a magnetic being, and that magnet is on 24/7, no matter what, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. I'll say it again. We are magnetic beings. The magnet is always on. It's run through frequency and vibration by our thoughts, our words, and our emotions, whether we are aware of it or not. And the key is to become 100% aware of every thought, every word, and the emotional frequency that we put behind that. When you begin to do that every day, then you'll start to see synchronicities, magic, and miracles show up in your life. But they're not magic and miracles. They're like frequency timelines that are being automatically pulled to you. Why? Because you're a magnet. You are a magnetic being. So I intend you find this valuable. To me, this is the most valuable stuff I've ever come across. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in. I think I've covered this in detail. It's really crystal clear right now. How aware of you are your frequency and vibration in every moment? Have you forgiven everybody? Are you triggered? Are you in fear? Are you angry? Are you... My screen's blinking on and off. That's interesting. Are you starting to get worn down? Like, well, I want to be able to travel and go on vacation, you know, in 6 months, so I'll just get the V. And then they come out with another V, and now you got to have a third V, and now they want to do a passport, and your passport expires if you won't go get the next V. So then, even though you got the first 2 Vs and you got your passport to feel safe and to travel under the draconian laws of the dark ones, then your passport expires and it turns orange, and now you can't even fly or do anything, and now you got to go get the next V for the rest of your life, or forever, how long you last, by putting poison and toxic stuff into your body. I mean, you've got to be able to see this. And if you don't, then I still love you, because everybody's perfectly doing whatever they're supposed to do, and that's the key. That's why it's so key to be compassionate and loving to anybody, no matter what. Yeah, you might want to unplug from them. If they're, judging you and putting toxic energy on them, unplug, but still love them from a distance. That's the key. Still love everybody from the distance, because they're perfectly playing their role, even if we don't understand it. This is the key. Because if we hold any judgment or resentment against anybody, guess what? We're going to be down here in lower 3D. You can't fake the frequency of the magnet. You can't do it. You can't fake it. You can't love and light your way out of it. Oh, I'm all love and light. I changed my name to, Summer Flower Child or whatever. Great. But you can't fake your way out of not going in and clearing and doing the inner healing. You can't do it. Yeah, so. Okay, so I don't see any questions here. I see stuff about the lockdown and the shaming. And okay, here's a question. Thank you, Fiona. Okay, we're going to lock down the vaccinators, shaming the undead. Yeah, that's what they do. How do you respond? Love them. Love them. You don't even need to explain yourself. You could say, I've done my research and I respect what you're doing for your body, but I've researched what's in them, in the agenda, and it's a no for me. I have an immune system that was God-given. My body knows exactly what to do. And then they might come back with something like my mom did, God bless her. Love you, Mom. And she said, well, I gave you the vaccine for smallpox and whatever when you were younger. Well, I don't think they were as targeted at, I know they were still lies, but it wasn't like it is today. And I believe that we can override a lot of these things with our thoughts and our frequency and our vibration. And that's key, really key. But yeah, love from a distance, and you don't really even have to distance unless they're being toxic and projective of negative energy, because the ego goes, well, I'll just separate, I don't want to be around it. All right, that's cool, but make sure that you're not holding the, they're stupid, they're ignorant, whatever, because that's the tricky part of the ego. It'll go, well, I'll just separate because I'm awake. But if you're holding the they're stupid or they're ignorant or whatever, then you're still holding that frequency. So we can't be holding any judgment if we do separate and love from a distance. This is really key. This is why we must track our frequency throughout the day. Does that answer your question? If you have a follow-up or anything, please pop it in, let me know, because this is valuable for a lot of people. Thank you for asking that question, because it's really, really key. And so, you know, I'm going to post this up here because this is my passion and this is what I do. And I only do it with a handful of people every month, 4 to 5 people at the most. Because when somebody puts their trust in me, we're going back and forth for 30 days. Every day or every other day. There's weekly calls. There's hours of PowerPoint trainings. There's a daily tracking sheet that goes along with the book and the PowerPoint training. You will begin to see programs, dismantle them, and heal this stuff faster than anything else I've ever found in my life. And it took me a long time to say that, because I used to feel like, well, that's ego saying how good you are. But I'll tell you what, this is the most powerful program that I've ever experienced. And I paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, I paid at least over $100,000 over 25 years. And I went to the top programs in Los Angeles and San Diego and Las Vegas and Arizona. And not one of them taught me how to do this process, which covers everything. It leaves no stone unturned, and it's so simple. And when you finally go through it and see the programs you were running and how you were reacting and how the ego was justifying, you'll go, oh my God, so many people are doing this. Everybody needs to understand how to do this. It's incredible. And most of the dismantling happens in the first week or two. It's even faster than 30 days. So if you have any questions or you'd like to grab one of the available spots for September, reach out and send me a private message or go to the link. Just Portal to Awakening is all you have to remember. There's a link right there. But if you go to the website, there's no lengthy sales pitch or anything. It tells you what it does, what it's going to do for you, abundance, healing, inner healing, creating your reality, dismantling, decades of limiting programs. It tells you how to do it, how we're going to do it, and then there's testimonials from so many of the people that have gone through it over the years. That's it. And if you feel like it's a yes for you, then just fill out the simple little sheet. It's so simple, and I'll get on a call with you. But it's the easiest thing ever to undo decades and decades of programming, but you got to be able to see it. And so this will be what's taught in school. This will be the first thing that's taught. It'll be this. Doesn't necessarily need to be my book, but children will be taught immediately at the earliest age what an emotional trigger is, how to heal anything if they need to heal anything, what a belief system is, how the belief system is a prison, how limiting it is. Again, the belief system is a complete prison. And your ego will not want to hear that. Because you could go, well, what about love is the answer? Yeah, that's one of 2 beliefs that I kept when I dismantled my whole belief system. Love is the answer in every case, with boundaries. You know, I also have a mantra that I share with people. Anything less than love is unacceptable in my life and relationships, period. Anything less than love, I do not tolerate. I will mirror you calmly. But if you come back with the same toxic stuff, then I separate from you. Then we can come back later if you want to shift, but I'm not holding any funky frequency against you. I'm just not allowing any negative frequencies in my reality. Okay? So the one belief I kept out of my prison system was love is the answer in every situation. And the other one is I am an unlimited sovereign divine being. Those are the only 2 I kept. So I intend that you found this valuable. I appreciate everybody who shows up and shares. Okay, here's a comment that's good. Okay, I love you, Fiona. Thank you for posting. Okay, let's look at this comment. Because in one way, it's kind of true. But if you agree to the second part of this sentence, then you're programming and instructing the subconscious that it's tricky not to judge. This is real subtle. And I'm I'm not bagging on you. I'm honored because anybody that asks questions opens this all up for everybody. This isn't just Fiona that's the one that's thinking it's tricky not to judge. She's the one that has the courage to, show up and air this stuff out. Okay? So when we say things like it's hard, it's difficult, then the subconscious goes, okay, guys, it's hard, it's difficult. Got to understand this. These are all direct commands to our subconscious, which is creating our reality. This is super, super, super key. That's why the only way, I love you. Yeah, that's great. You're paying attention. And that's what these tools teach people to do. Because in the beginning, when I start to do the journey with people, they'll use the words W-O-R-K a lot. They'll use J-O-B. They'll use W-A-N-T. They'll use try. They'll use should. And they'll use going to. All words in the future that tell the subconscious it's not here yet. And I just mirror them, man, quick, boom, boom, boom. And after one or two conversations with me, they start to catch it and replace it. That's how quickly you can undo decades, even 5, 6, 7, 8 decades. I journey with people. And they start to catch this stuff that quick. I'm telling you, this is the most powerful program that I know of. And I say that with complete humbleness. It just is. And I invite you to investigate it. If it resonates and you're ready to do it. Because I'm not going to do it for you. I'm going to do it with you. But you have to be willing to look at your stuff. Thank you, brother. Great to see you. I love you. Barrett's an amazing soul. Great person to connect with. So anybody else have any questions, pop it in. Otherwise, I love you guys. And thank you so much for hanging with me during your super valuable time of anything that you could be scrolling through. Feel free to share this with anybody that you feel could use it. I mean, the digital course and the book are no-brainers. For, the cost of lunch or going out on a weekend, it'll change your life. There's a half-price link for the book, or you can just go to Portal to Awakening. The digital course is there with all the hours of PowerPoint trainings. Whether you get the book or the course, you get the PDF download immediately to print out and begin to track. The questions are so simple and so specifically laid out that you just start to see the programs from day one. And you just fill it out every night after dinner before you go to bed, and you start to shift the way you create and manifest your entire reality. If you want to do it in the simplest way, I'm sharing with you the tools that I've found that are the simplest way to do it. With that, I'm going to say thank you. I love you. Thank you for showing up. And again, there's the link for anybody that would like to grab one of the 4 spots for September that are still available. Actually 3. And thank you so much again to everybody that shares these tools. I intend that you found this valuable. I'm just sending you all my love and gratitude. And real quick, why don't we all just tune in to our breath and give love to every one of those trillions of cells that's loving on us in every moment. See if you can tune in, close your eyes and smile, because smiling raises your vibration. That's why I have everybody do this many, many times throughout the day. Feel. Is there any tension in your body? Go from the top of your head and even above your crown down to, I gotta pay attention to keep the bowl going. All the way down to your feet. Is there any tension in your body? Is there any fear in your solar plexus? Any stuck energies? Smile. Thank everybody for being your teacher. Every single person, especially anybody that triggers you. Bless everybody in the media. Bless everybody in the governments that got lost or that's here to just show you the balance between light and dark. And they're accelerating the process of our awakening right now. Bless them. Thank them. You don't have to agree with them, but don't hold any negative energy towards them, or they'll keep you stuck in the 3D matrix. Give love to every one of your cells. Give love to all your teachers. Whenever you get triggered to go into judgment, train yourself to ask yourself the million-dollar question, the billion-dollar question. What is this trying to teach me about me? What is this trying to teach me about me? It's never about the other person. They're the teacher. Your triggers are your teachers. I love you guys. Let me see. One more comment. Oh, thank you. I love you too, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, my mom's doing great. I think I'll get to talk to her today. I hope. I don't hope. I intend. See, you got to catch them. Even once in a while, I'll say a spell word. I intend that I'll be talking to my mom today, and I know I will. Okay, everybody. Big love, and I'll be back on Monday, if not sooner. No, I'll be back on Friday. I don't know. Maybe I'll be back every day. Time is irrelevant. Thanks so much. Have an incredible day or evening wherever you're at. Big, big love.